Welcome to the show. As we have been highlighting the 6 stages of grooming and manipulation, I wanted to just recap very quickly from our last 3 discussions that the first thing that someone does when they are going to groom or manipulate you is they have to pick their target. And they usually do that for specific reasons. We won't go into it. I've already done that. But just know they are very specific about the targets that they pick. The next thing, the next stage is that they build trust. All right. So they're going to build some trust with the child, probably, and with those around the child. And as we know, oftentimes we are manipulated and groomed by people that are closest to us in our families, our friends, the school community and all the extracurricular activities. But they will build trust because they look like they're just like everybody else. They're just, you know, a concerned, wonderful person. And as that trust grows, the next thing that happens, the next stage, is that the need that the people inside of that web, um, they identify that need and they fill that need. So there are many ways that groomers and manipulators do that. And that's through getting to know and building the trust. And then they see the need. And usually they've targeted the person because they see a vulnerability. So now as we move into the fourth stage of grooming and manipulation, I think it's really, really important to be very clear that as isolating the person, the child, isolation begins to happen, they will often start with asking the child or the tween or the teen to keep a small secret, something that maybe wouldn't be a big deal. Maybe they're planning to give, you know, a present to somebody in the family. Oh, don't tell your mom, but I'm planning to make a special, you know, uh, for us, it was like, I'm going to take you all out for ice cream for your mom's birthday this weekend. Okay, that's a small secret. Don't tell her. It's a surprise. And then as it goes, they escalate those secrets. Those secrets become more well, as they find out that the young person will keep a secret, then they start to push the boundaries for the secrets that they tell. So, oftentimes, a child, or a teenager is assaulted, sexually they can be assaulted in their own home, without the parents even noticing because of how good the the victim becomes at keeping secrets. This is just the manipulative process that they use to finally almost just do it under the parents' noses. Or it is a parent and they've already groomed and manipulated the other parent to not notice. They know their routine, they know the patterns, they know when, they can get away with it in the middle of the night. Um, and of course, as those secrets become more and more vicious, you know, the thing that comes to mind is that when they are isolating, the person, the young child or the teenager, and the acts are being committed even inside of their own home, the way that they demand their secrets be kept get harsher and harsher. Like I had one person talk about the pinching that would happen, to her inner thigh or in the back of her leg. And they were places where nobody could see those bruises. But you just remember, while they're pinching, that this is our special secret. This is our special relationship. And no one else ever can know about it. And, mixing the special relationship with the abuse with a physical reminder. She told me she used to really look at all the different bruises and almost admire the different stages they were in because it became such a commonplace thing. So they can combine a lot of things in this isolation process that become more and more dangerous, more and more physical, as well as more of the mental terrorism starts really inside of isolation. So if a child, is given the opportunity to ride to school or to a special event with their friends in a car that is being driven by the perpetrator, that seems, like not such a big deal. Oh, great. Somebody's offering to pick up my child, give them a ride, um, so that they can go to this special event or just even to school, which is how B did it with us. Oh, let me help you. Let me help you. I'll pick up the girls. You're on my way. They lived, a block and a half up the street, and down the street was the school. And I'll pick them up, and then you won't have to drive the girls to school. And so that was part of the daily routine. It became a very much a daily routine. But what I look back on and notice now is that oftentimes he would have me wait in the car for just a minute, and all the kids are pouring out of the back seat, and I often got to ride in the front seat more than everybody else. So he did play favorites, but it wasn't every time. And I was always usually somebody that if I noticed, I'd say, "Oh, no, 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 it's Karen's turn to sit in the front," or "It's Jerry's turn to sit in the front," or something like that, because I was kind of uh, I don't know, that was part of my personality to be very fair. But, I also was a kid. I didn't notice all those times, but I remember he would have me wait just so that he could tell me something that everybody else didn't need to hear or he didn't want to tell the rest of them. And it could be something as simple as, "Oh, I told you about that friend of mine who's in the movie industry, and I just wanted to tell you that I got to have a conversation with him on the phone, and he's really excited to meet you someday and be able to see you. Maybe he might even come here to Pocatello and see you in one of the plays or something." He would just say little things like that, but don't tell anybody because we don't know if it's going to happen. See, that was the secret part. He'd say something like that, but don't mention that to anybody, your mom, dad, anybody, because I don't know if it'll actually happen, and I don't want you or anybody else to be disappointed. But I know how special you are. I know how talented you are. He always would take opportunities like that to place in me something that was a happy secret, not a scary secret. That's how they work. And then as those escalate, because you're out of your surroundings, and so then the next isolating moment can be going horseback riding for the first time, where Jerry, his son, wasn't coming with us. And he said, "Well, I told your dad that Jerry had this thing going on and that he could pick up Jerry and bring him out as well, if he wants to. Um, but, don't mention this to my kids because they might feel bad that I didn't bring them horseback riding." So now all of a sudden he's doing something very special for me in a car by myself, going to horseback riding to teach me some lessons and how to do it because I was so interested in that. And he's also layering in there the secret. Here's a secret that's just ours. Don't say anything to the other kids. They might feel bad. Well, of course, that would be a kind of secret that I would keep because I don't want anybody else to feel bad. So they get to know your personality in that trust phase. They get to know the needs that you have when they're starting to fill the needs. And now when they isolate, they use all of those things that they now know about you or about your family or your parents or your siblings, even your school teachers, even your piano teacher. They know certain things about people that they can use to create a secret or something special. And I think that's really important to remember that when somebody is taking a child to, a piano lesson or to a special outing, to alleviate, the parent's stress and how much they have to do and they're being helpful, so they say, you know, I think it's really important for that little buzzy thing to go off in your gut. And I think that's true of somebody in your family doing that. An aunt, an uncle, an older cousin, even an older sibling, if they're offering to do things that are kind of the sorts of things that it would be hard for you to offer to someone. Like, I really don't want to pick up other people's kids and take them places, you know? If in your normal natural mind you go, "Wow, that's awfully nice. Who does that?" That's a good question to ask yourself. Who does that? Now, sometimes I know close families and brothers and sisters, and they all have kids and they do all kinds of things together. And, that I think I don't want everybody to never trust another, family member or a close friend or person. But I think you have to really look at it like how frequently is that happening and how far out of their way are they going? Because people can be nice and kind and want to help and serve, but they don't go that far out of their way. It's really unusual for people to do that because, we're human beings. We all have our own lives that are busy and full of stress. So, the next level also is maybe if they are not a member of the family, but they're, a teacher or a church leader, a coach or a music, your kids go to choir or like we did crafts, arts and crafts with a lady, and I think that if they are asking that child or singling out a child, or a teenager, to stay after school or to stay late, or I wanna they're really talented at this particular thing, this sport, this dance, at ballet or at drama, they really have a gift, and I really would like them to stay, so I can work with them even more one-on-one. That also should bring up some kind of, bells and whistles, and they're not that blatant. I thought I think I used to call them red flags, and now I don't like that term because it seems so obvious. So I usually call it like that little funny, little sound wave that goes through your chest or your gut or whatever, and you have it for a few seconds, like, something, I don't know," and then you kind of dismiss it. That's your secondary thought. Like, "Oh, they're just trying to, help my child or the student, my child the student, my child the dancer, my child the dramatist, my child the athlete. They're just trying to help." Well, there may be more to it, especially if something just kind of passed through your gut or heart and you go, man, they have a lot of students or they have kids of their own, or why would they, go out of their way to that degree? It just isn't really, it really isn't normal. And most of these predators are masters at manipulation. So they will sense immediately if there's some pushback. Like, "Oh, that's too much. You don't need to do that," "No, no, no." They'll be like, "Oh, okay, that's just fine," they'll back off because they immediately are in the process of isolating you as the parent or as another concerned citizen that's around this child to make sure that you don't have those alarm bells going off inside. So I think that skill that they have to really read, if they feel like at all that you're going to not allow that to happen, they will totally agree with you. And then they'll wait for the next opportunity and go, "Oh, my word, did you see her in that play? She's just so talented. She absolutely has to have, a couple of, private sessions here, to really go through these lines or really." They'll find a way back to it in a different or maybe with a different person in their life. Like he pitted my mom and my dad against each other. "Oh, I can't get what I want from Bob. I'll ask MaryAnn. Oh, I can't get what I want from MaryAnn or Bob. I'll just work on Jan. Let her throw the fit. Let her be like, "Why won't you let me go? I love learning how to ride a horse, and you can't do that. You're allergic to horses." He'll get it to the point where the intended victim is going to do what they need to do to make it happen. So I just think that, offering special friendship, special help to a child or a teen and isolating them in any way, shape, or form is a very effective thing that starts to happen. And a pedophile may groom and eventually sexually assault that child. So, school, taking us to school, going horseback riding, all of those things, taking me to a music lesson, those were all tactics to isolate me and to build that and to continue building that relationship of trust and to fill a need. So that's stage 4. Stage 4 of the grooming and manipulation process.